Now, the onset of a harsh winter in Afghanistan is deepening the humanitarian crisis there. International sanctions have severely disrupted the economy since the Taliban takeover, which took place last August. And the collapse of the previous Afghan government and the withdrawal of Western support has led to soaring unemployment, with many unable to feed their families or even to heat their homes. The United Nations says nearly 24.5 million people are in humanitarian need, and that actually is more than half the population. And 1 million children are thought to be at risk from severe malnourishment. From Kabul, our correspondent Quentin Sommerville sent us this report.
After 20 years of war, Afghanistan faces a long, harsh winter and a cold and hungry peace. Victorious, the Taliban now guard food queues. More than half the country is going hungry. Women, barred from work and education, have lost another fundamental right, the ability to feed their families. Here in Wardak province, we meet Paris. As a second wife, she supports a family of 6 alone. This wheelbarrow of basics is meant to last them 17 days, but maybe less. There was no rice today.
Winter is very difficult. We don't have money to buy food or firewood. We just fill the rooms with smoke to feel warm, but still it's cold.
Her granddaughter is always hungry. The baby's mother can't produce milk. Baby formula is beyond the reach of almost everyone here. The Taliban are international pariahs, so the economy is being crushed by sanctions. Only humanitarian aid is allowed. So in Kabul, even the well-to-do are queuing for World Food Programme handouts. These wheelbarrows are full of the very basics: salt, rice, peanuts, cooking oil. And for many of the people here, it's the first time they've had food in days. The interesting thing is, though, that the bazaars, the markets in central Kabul are full of produce, but no one here has any money. And this isn't just the case here in Kabul. It's the same situation across Afghanistan. This should be the time when Afghanistan stops and catches its breath. Instead, its poorest are sinking deeper into poverty. Ajar Gul moved here from Nangarhar province. This house is home to 4 families. He can't afford soap to wash the kids' faces. They burn plastic to keep warm. It still isn't safe for them to return, he says. We would have moved to Pakistan, but Pakistan closed its borders to us. This is a cascading crisis touching every part of society. 3.5-year-old Abdul Musawar is doing much better now. You should have seen him weeks ago, his mum says. 1 million Afghan kids will be severely malnourished this year. Much of Afghanistan's healthcare system is close to collapse. Soraya is 1.5 years. Her big bright eyes don't miss a trick. She was severely malnourished. Her tummy and her limbs are still swollen.
When we came here, her situation was very bad and she needed a blood transfusion. Thank God she's so much better than she was. The doctor has said we should wait here until the swelling goes down.
10 years ago, I lived next door to this hospital. It was a time of a great surge of men, material, and billions of dollars into Afghanistan. Western diplomats would say, they weren't trying to build perfection here. They weren't trying to create Switzerland. Who knows what they were trying to create, but it wasn't this. It wasn't a country where half the people, more than half the people, are going hungry, and babies like Soraya are near starvation. Should Afghanistan now be left to struggle alone? For 2 decades, Afghans of all ages were trapped in a tempest of violence between Western forces and the Taliban. Those battles are now over, but the Afghan people's suffering endures. For them, there's no respite. Quentin Sommerville, BBC News, Kabul.